I grew up where Charles Lindbergh first took his historic flight in 1927 across the world. My neighborhood was in the state called the Big Apple. Now, a lot of people don't know where that phrase came from, but I learned that a sports writer named John Fitzgerald in the 1920s was writing about horse racing, and he overheard a stable hand tell another stable hand that he was going to be going to the Big Apple, and everyone knows that horses like apples so much. So he was saying that he was going to the most prestigious place for horse racing, and he called it the Big Apple. And John Fitzgerald really liked that term, and he used it over and over in his column, and it caught on. Then it died off for a long time, but then in the 1970s they wanted to bring it back in a campaign for tourism for New York. So that's where I grew up. And my parents, they grew up in Brooklyn, New York, which the name was named after a village in the Netherlands. The Dutch named Brooklyn. My grandparents, my father's parents, came from Naples, Italy, and of course that is a city on the southwest coast of Italy. It is credited with the origin of pizza. What I loved about being a kid was all the fun that I had playing sports. It was so much fun. And I remember in first grade, my gym teacher, Mrs. Mayo, taught me how to do a cartwheel and a back bend, and that was it. I was a gymnast from that point on. And it was so fun to run and twist and turn and jump and just have a ball with gymnastics. And that led me to try other sports. So I really enjoyed softball, the accuracy of it, the skill, the agility involved, and being on a team was so much fun to do something together and get to know people and have that family. So that led me to try cheerleading, and that really was a fun experience where you experience the culture of the school. I tried tennis, and that was very challenging. But life can be difficult, and well, sports brought me great joy, and I carry a positive attitude from my experience as a team member forward to how I work with adults and kids. I like to get excited about things, and I like to do my best, and I like to teach others to do their personal best. It's not so much beating someone, but doing your personal best, working as a team. However, I learned that life can be difficult, and I've been faced with many challenges regarding self-confidence, anxiety, and even depression. And I am thinking that many of you in the audience can understand what I mean, that life can lead, the experiences we have can lead to those things. And I became selfish without clear goals of starting a family and regretted how lost that I became. I didn't have God to guide me. And so my marriage fell apart, and then I went through a series of relationships, never knowing how to truly love someone and not choosing a person who knew how to either. I was very lost, and in 1995 I met a friend, and it was divine intervention because God led Cheryl to me to show me how to find Him. So I was no longer lost, and I asked Jesus to be my Lord and Savior. And it took a while to really develop a relationship with Him. I walked away from God, then I would go towards God. Then I began to trust God more and more over the years. So growing in God has recently led me to work in social services. I am a High Hopes facilitator and I really enjoy that. That is working with kids who are from families that are divorced, and we teach. I like to be a light to them, always following the curriculum, but yet having God in my heart. And they learn about self-control, responsibility, forgiving themselves, forgiving others. I am also a Strengthening Families facilitator, and this is under CASTLE. CASTLE stands for Child Abuse Services, Teaching, Learning, and Enrichment. And as a Strengthening Families facilitator, I work with the parent group while the teenagers go to their group, and it's really an honor to see parents learning and growing and helping each other, and it really makes me happy to be a part of that process. I want to keep growing, and that's why I joined ToastMasters, because I believe that the people here are encouraging, and they're a lot like me, and they just want to keep growing and learning. So I really believe I'm in the right place, and I feel very supported. And thank you for having me.